Anyway, I got rid of my GoPro 12. It was the latest and greatest. I got it a little over a year ago, uh, almost exactly. And what a mistake. Uh, this isn't a professional review of everything about it, but let me tell you some things about it. That, first of all, it was like 500. It was more than this 416 that you see. But I got the kit with all the stuff. I researched it. Everybody had been saying for years I should get a GoPro, and I looked into it, and I kind of saw the videos that said don't get a GoPro, and I finally made a decision. Okay, I'll get it. I can use it for hiking, whatever. I won't use it all the time. Of course, it won't replace my good cameras, but I'll get one. What a mistake! The biggest complaints are that first of all, it operates totally different than a normal camera. It uses their proprietary system of everything, and that your all the files, like the raw files it saves, are different. You have to open them using their GoPro stuff that infects and invades your computer uh, and your telephone and everything, instead of just normal JPEGs. And you take the like a normal camera, you take the SD card out and do what you want. Um, I mean, the list is just too long. I mean, my sensor in either one of my good cameras, my Canon 80D or my Canon R7, my sensor is bigger than a GoPro, which, okay, I understand they're cheap camera, but I mean, to me, it was virtually worthless. And the fisheye effect ruins the videos. And so you make the settings in there to cancel out the fisheye effect. Well, now half the stuff in the camera doesn't work right. And that everything you do with the camera, you're having to delve into the camera software to constantly adjust settings to try to get the thing to work for how you want it. It's okay for people with drones or on their motorcycle helmet, stuff like that, but it was no good for my use. And especially, I would warn people this: if uh, it's good for kids and teenagers, but if you've ever had a good camera, like my Canon 80D, okay, that's $1,500 camera. It's still perfectly good, and I use it. My Canon R7, I spent almost 2,000 on it. Well, with a GoPro, you spend, if you get the kit, let's say $500. Well, that alone tells you that the camera is basically like $100 camera. So I didn't expect too much. But what got me the clincher was that everything about the camera, you have to use their proprietary software, uh, and the fisheye effect, where, okay, you can cancel out the fisheye. Well, now it disables half of the stuff in the camera. And the false advertising saying that it's waterproof, and it's not. It's got the little door on it that if it gets the slightest thing in there, people don't understand this. Of course, I did, because I used to use an Iconos 5 underwater camera with big strobes sticking out for my scuba diving. But it's not really a scuba diving camera, and they profess that it's waterproof. Well, it really isn't. And then there's always the arguments that, like they say, there's a plastic case. You got to put them in a plastic Ziploc case because they're not waterproof. And so after you get it, you start finding out that all of the claims, you know, uh, there's so many bullshit things about it that you realize you bought a lemon. That you bought a lemon. It's you got to get an underwater housing for them. Uh, if you want to use them underwater. But the little door that closes, that's your point of sealing. And what people don't understand, like I say, I did. I never considered it an underwater camera. I just barely tested it a couple of times and then stored it, and then I sold it. But the little door, the slightest thing in that little door, a piece of hair, invisible lint, whatever, it will leak in through there. But everything about it was problematical. But especially the proprietary software, that everything you do, you've got to use their app and their stuff that has to be downloaded onto your computer. And yeah, God, what a stupid mistake! It was the worst mistake I ever made. But I would tell you this, that if you're an older person that's used good cameras or has a good camera, you're not going to like the GoPro, unless you're using it on your skateboard or your hang glider or something like that where people have a use for it. Now, those that have a use for it, it's fine. I've seen the videos that it takes. It has its functions. And so the way I sold it is I said, I'm selling this right after buying it because it has no use for me, for my use for it, like hiking, uh, geology hikes, stuff like that. I already have the best cameras. Uh, so that was it. That's my rant about the GoPro. What a mistake. What a mistake. So when you see those videos, don't buy a GoPro. The Watch those videos. Watch those videos because you're not getting a normal camera that the software and the take out the SD card, plug it into your computer. No, forget it. You have to use their proprietary crap, and half the stuff claimed about the camera is false. And when you join the GoPro group, like on Facebook, you quickly find out that it's nothing but trouble. They overheat. If you want to do a long recording, you have to buy an extra auxiliary battery and be running it off of that battery and all these hookups to get it to work right. They overheat and they will shut off. It's just one problem after another. It's terrible, terrible mistake. But that little fisheye lens and the tiny sensor, and you can cancel out the fisheye effect so that it's, the stuff on the edges are straight instead of curved around like a fisheye lens. But now the other stuff in the camera doesn't work right. What a disaster! What a mistake! I lost like $250 on it.